It is an honor to offer my sincere congratulations on the dedication of this noteworthy site by the Indiana Historical Bureau to honor the Little Sisters of the Poor of Indianapolis. Since 1873, the Little Sisters of the Poor have cared for the elderly and poor in Indianapolis, dedicating their lives in service to others. The dedication of this marker at Lockerbie Square serves as a reminder to us all of these selfless acts of charity. I also want to acknowledge all who are here today to honor them. Congratulations again to the Little Sisters of the Poor for this long-deserved recognition, and thank you for all that you do on behalf of those Hoosiers who are most in need. Sincerely, Joe Donnelly, United States Senator.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Senator Young was unable to attend today, but he also sent in a note of congratulations. Fellow Hoosiers, congratulations on the state historical marker commemorating your 50th anniversary. The Little Sisters of the Poor is a pillar of the community and contributes significantly to our great state. I regret that I'm unable to attend your dedication ceremony, but wish you success with the remainder of your event. I am proud to call you fellow Hoosiers and congratulate you on this well-earned recognition. It is an honor to represent you in the United States Senate. Your friend in service, Todd Young, United States Senator. And from the Indiana General Assembly, we have Senator Jean Breaux here.
Thank you very much, Nathan. What an honor it is for me to be here today to join you in this celebration. And I have a little something that I would like to share. Now, clearly you will not be able to hang it here, but I hope you will take it back to your offices and to your home and put it on a wall of distinction and know that I, too, am doing all I can to help people who are poor and who need the services of not only our state and our government, but our God. Indiana Senate Certificate of Achievement awarded to Little Sisters of the Poor. In the United States of America, beginning in the year 1868, Little Sisters of the Poor has been devoted to caring for the elderly poor of Indianapolis. Thank you for your ongoing legacy of love to the least among us and to God. God bless you.
Thank you. Mother, would you like to accept this? All right, thank you, Senator Breaux. And we are pleased to have Mother Mary Vincent here to say a few words about the Little Sisters of the Poor.
Thank you very much for coming. This is really a memorable day for us. I've never been at one of these affairs before, and I'm kind of on the way up, so quite a few years. So you know that I've been a little sister for quite a few years. So this is really a special, special day for us. And to see all of you here just brings the light of God right into our lives. To see your smiles, to see on a Saturday morning when you could be sleeping in, and you're here with us. Thank you very much. I would like to say a special word for it's our guild it's their 50 years that they have helped us in our home. And they have a motto that I think we ought to all take home with us. It's a motto that really is very similar to what the Little Sisters are all about. And that motto is love made visible. And if we believe, and we do believe, that God is love, then the visibility that they bring to us every day when they come to help us is that God is very present in their lives, and they see God in us and the people they help. Now, this guild is a very special guild in the fact that, many guilds they have are fundraisers, and it's always very well appreciated. But this guild, they actually do things. You know what I mean? Not that fundraising isn't doing things, but they come into the house. They visit with our residents. They have games. They work in the laundry. If you need them in the kitchen, they're in the kitchen. They go around to visit our residents. They have games. They have every month they have something special for them. And at Christmas time, they have 12 days for Christmas. Now, that's the first time I've ever seen that anywhere. And they hang a little red pouch on everybody's door. And for 12 days before Christmas, they bring a little gift to our residents. And you know, it's like when you were a kid, you were waiting for every morning, you'll see the first thing they do is go open the door, you know, check out and see what they got today. So these are the kind of things that you can't express it except the fact that we are very, very grateful to have them. And this historical monument would never be here if it wasn't for their work, because a lot of the work that they have done to make this possible, I can't imagine how much time it took and how much effort and how much joy they had in giving this effort. Now, of course, the Little Sisters have been here quite a long time, but I think I would be remiss if I didn't say, love made visible. It makes me think of our founders. It really does. St. John Gigon. You know, she was someone that, if you want to say, she had 3 strikes against her. One was, she was born at a time when the French Revolution was just finishing, if not still in vogue. Many of the churches in her time were closed up. The priests were slaughtered. I mean, they were hanged. And so she couldn't even have an open church that she could go to. That's one. She was born in that time. Secondly, her father, when she was a very young girl, maybe 8 years old, her father went out on a fishing trip to Nova Scotia. That's what he did with a group of other men. They never came back. So she lost her father at a very old age. They were already poor, so this made them poorer. So she lived in an area, she was very poor. They had no possibility for education. Unless you were rich, you had no way to be educated. So the only thing she learned is how to sign her name. And so therefore, with all this, she had 3 gifts that counterpointed that. Her faith, her mother taught her her religion, taught her how close God was to her. And she always felt from the time she was very young that God chose her for himself. Secondly, she had hope. She had such trust in God, and she really instills a little sister with that. If we little sisters don't believe and trust in God, there's something wrong with all of us. We're in the wrong place, because we do trust in God. We confide completely, otherwise we wouldn't be here today. And her love was so visible that she could see a little lady on the street when she was 47 years old, still looking, what does God want me to do? What does he want me to do? And she was going home from work this one day. She worked as a little nursing assistant in one of the hospitals in Saint Servan. A little lady was on the street. She was crippled, she was blind, and she just found out that her only sister, who was her support, had died. Now, most of us would say, isn't that too bad? I think I'll see if I can give her a little money. Sister Mary of the Cross picked her up, took her home to her little attic room. She lived with another lady and put her in her own bed. That was made love visible to the world. And that's what, believe it or not, that's what started the Little Sisters of the Poor. No big thing, no big thing about it at all. She just saw what had to be done. She risked everything to make sure that it was done. And she really did it for God. And you can imagine what happened. Shortly after she took the first lady, there was another lady at the door, had no place to go, nothing to do, And so that went on. And by the time Sister Mary of the Cross died, it was international. It was a little bit like Mother Teresa. The fight took off, and it was like illuminous. So about 25 homes throughout the world was already open by the time she died. She was 47 and died at 80, so it was about 40 years later all this had happened. So then, of course, she came here through her little sisters. She came here to Indianapolis. She came to the country in we came to the country in 1868. And they tell the story that the sisters were so poor, and they were only French. So they didn't know any English. They had 3 coats, and there were 5 sisters. So only 3 sisters could go out at the same time. You never could put them all because they were so poor. But people, from the very beginning, the American people have accepted us. They have supported us. The people of Indianapolis, we are so proud to say that we are all in this act. To me it is anyway. We're all in this act of love together. We are all made to help one another. And our mother founder saw that. One day she was out begging, and she had just finished going to the same butcher, same baker twice in a row. And he said, listen, lady. He said, you took those old ladies on yourself. Don't make them my burden. And she says, no, but she said, I'll tell you what. I'll take care of them if you help me to support them. And that is how our begging began. So begging is a historical thing in our congregation because we believe that we are all made in the image of God and we are all made to help one another. And so anything that people do for us, it is in the name of God, and God is the rewarder. And you people in Indianapolis, I tell you, you are really gifts to us. You have never, you always responded in love to whatever we needed. And there at time, this is what the Guild gives us, help and financially, anything needed, you're right with us. Do you think that we 8 sisters that are in our home right now could run a home of over 100 if we didn't have the help of people that want to respond to us in such love? And I just want you all to know that when I see you, I see in you the love of God for us. I'm very grateful.
Thank you, Mother. We are so blessed to have Mother Mary Vincent with us. And for those of you who don't know Mother Mary Vincent, next week is her last week with us here in Indianapolis. She has new obediences to return home to Pittsburgh, but we've been so blessed for the 6 years of service you've given us. But Mother, I asked you to join me up here, and could all the other little sisters of the poor join up here by Sister Martha for the unveiling of the historical marker? All right, we will now unveil the historical marker. At this time, we have Casey from the Indiana Historical Bureau to talk a little bit about the program.
Thank you all so much. On behalf of the Indiana Historical Bureau and the State Historical Marker Program, I am so thrilled to be here today to witness the dedication of this new state historical marker. For those of you who don't know, our agency has been working with applicants and communities across the state of Indiana dating back to the 1940s on the installation of new state historical markers. If you travel across the state today, you can see them standing in 88 of our 92 counties. They commemorate a wide variety of topics. We have markers to women's history, to science, medicine, technology, and to various organizations that have played an important part in the state's history. We're so honored to be able to be here today to dedicate this new marker for Little Sisters of the Poor. Historical markers provide snapshots of the past. They really allow us to commemorate some of the people, places, events, and organizations that have had an impact on the state. And there's no doubt about it that the Little Sisters of the Poor are worthy of such recognition. And it's one of the reasons why we're so happy to be here today for this marker. The Little Sisters began their work almost 180 years ago in northern France. And it's amazing what they've been able to accomplish since that time. Opening homes all over the world, I know in 1868, when they first arrived here in New York, the Brooklyn Daily Eagle published an article in which they had said that the Little Sisters of the Poor were a welcome addition to the many charitable institutions of our city, and noting, I quote, "Everywhere their quiet, unostentatious charity, their humble but earnest work, and the helplessness of the class to whose support their lives are devoted, have won for them the sympathy and love not only of the members of their own faith, but of all others in which Christian charity and love are component parts." I think that statement really goes to show the admiration that people have for Little Sisters of the Poor, and have continued to have over the years. This is a group who so selflessly gives of themselves to care for others, and we're honored to be able to dedicate their work and their lives today. The Little Sisters of the Poor, as has been said, arrived here in Indianapolis in 1873, and very soon after established a home directly on this site. And so we're very, very blessed to be able to commemorate this marker right here where it is most fitting. This marker is now one of over 600 markers that the Indiana Historical Bureau has helped install across the state. And like the others that came before it, we wouldn't be able to do it without the help of so many people who have played a part in making this possible. As such, I'd like to just take a moment to thank some of those who were involved. Of course, the Little Sisters of the Poor and the St. Augustine Guild for everything that you continue to do, not only for this marker, but for the care you take for the elderly poor of this state and across the world. There are no words to adequately express how grateful I think so many of us are for what you do. In particular, I want to thank Beth Hansen and Linda Bear, who did such a tremendous amount of work on this marker, from the research phase, getting together the application, to coordinating this wonderful dedication today. It's a lot of work that goes into it, and we're very, very appreciative of everything you guys have done. I would also like to thank Kate Wilson, who's been very, very helpful. Many emails back and forth too, planning this dedication today. So thank you, Kate. And of course, to Mother Mary Vincent for everything you've done. Best of luck to you in your next phase, and good luck going back to Pittsburgh. But thank you very much for your support of this marker as well. And to two other groups, I'd like to first also recognize the Indianapolis Historic Preservation Commission. This is a group that we worked with, Beth and Linda, to make sure that the marker was able to be installed right on this site. So they do a lot of great work here in the city to make sure that our history is preserved. We're very appreciative of what they do. And to the Mayor's Office of Indianapolis, who proclaimed today Little Sisters of the Poor Day, such a fitting and perfect tribute. We're very grateful for them recognizing the work of Little Sisters of the Poor as well. For those of you who are interested in learning more about the Little Sisters, on our website in the next coming weeks, we'll be providing pictures of both sides of the marker, pictures of the dedication today, as well as footnotes and annotations that support every point that goes on the marker. So it's a lot of extra information. I encourage you to check it out if you're interested in learning more. But again, I just want to thank you all for taking the time to come out here today. I know we're fighting the weather, but I'm so glad that it held up for us today. Again, this is such a fitting tribute to such a deserving group. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Casey. I'd like now to introduce Linda Baer, the chair of the Guild 50th Anniversary Celebration Committee.
Two years ago, we started the planning for the 50th anniversary of the Guild and the 50th anniversary of the Little Sisters home on West 86th Street. We wanted to honor the sisters because they have given 144 years of dedication to providing a home for the elderly poor. So our idea was a historic marker, and we're very thankful for the Historic Bureau to approve this marker. And we also wanted to raise the visibility of the Little Sisters. In our research, asking what people thought the Little Sisters did, one person said, "Isn't it a monastery?" Someone else said, "Isn't it a retired home for priests?" They didn't seem to know. So we wanted to get the word out. It's been 144 years. They've been giving a home to the elderly poor, and they were right here at this location. So we decided this is where we needed the historic marker to be placed. If you go to the home, when you walk in the door, you will feel the warmth and the love in that home. The Little Sisters don't see that as in that home. The Little Sisters don't see that as work. They see it as a mission of love. And if you talk to the residents, they're happy, they're at peace, and they have a security knowing that they're in a loving home. The other thing that we noticed often is they're a family. The sisters, the staff, the residents, the volunteers, we're all a family, just like your families. All the residents have their own rooms. They have 3 meals a day. We have birthday celebrations. We have Christmas. We have games. There's lots of things that they do. So that's what I think is unique about the sisters. It's all about the love, as Sister said. Love is made visible every day in that home. But there's some challenges. The Medicare and the Medicaid that they receive doesn't quite pay all the bills, so there's a deficit every month. And as Sister said, they beg, they ask for donations, and we're hoping to bring some more visibility to the sisters through all of the information that we've had. We were on Catholic radio last week. So what can you do? Go to the Little Sisters website, Little Sisters of the Poor, Indianapolis.org. You can read about the sisters, the residents, the events at the home. There's information about the Guild and how to join the Guild. And there's also online donations. So we welcome all of you to review that, tell others about it, tell your companies about it. Adopt the Little Sisters. We would just love for your help in that. If you want to know more about the Little Sisters and the Guild, we have a brochure. We have a couple people, Guild members, Joanne and Sherry, that have these. If you're interested, they'll be happy to give them all to you. But I want to thank the committee, the development staff at the home, for all that we've accomplished this year. It's been a lot, and it couldn't have been done without a team effort. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Now I'd like to introduce Beth Hansen, the St. Augustine Guild historian, who put a lot of work into this marker.
Thank you, Nathan. Yes, as the historian, I was lucky enough to get to do the research for this, which was a wonderful thing. And it's a thrill now to be able to stand here and see this state marker unveiled here at the site of the old home, 520 East Vermont, because it was here that the Little Sisters lived for 94 years, from 1873 until 1967. And this is where they took in the elderly poor. This is where they gave them a chance to live out their lives in dignity and in comfort and respect, safety, security. And it was from here that they could go downtown and do their begging. As Mother said, this was an historical part of the Little Sisters. And downtown knew them. Downtown recognized them, the businesses, the individuals. They were happy to try to help in any way that they could. Because, as has been said, people were in awe of the Little Sisters and their dedication and the mission that they had to the elderly poor. And I want to say also that although we are celebrating the Little Sisters here in Indianapolis, we've been here for 144 years, this was not the only place in the state. This is a state historical marker. And the Little Sisters also operated a home for over 100 years in Evansville, St. John's, a home for the aged poor. And they took care of thousands of elderly poor there until it closed. They had the support of the community down there. There were cities in the northern part of the state where the Little Sisters came in the early 1900s, and they supplied nursing care and assistance. And those communities supported them and spoke with them of them with great awe. These are the things that I was able to find when I was looking back at old newspaper reports. So, and I also want to say here that talking about it as a state marker, Casey was so nice with everything she said, but I want to thank her so much for all the assistance and the help that she gave us. After the application was approved, There are things that we had to do, places that, like she referenced the Historical Preservation Commission. We had to deal with in the ins and outs of the city of Indianapolis, and Casey was the one that was able to help us do that, get the permits, the logistics nailed down, all of that we wouldn't have known where to begin, really. And Casey was able to help us with that. So thank you so much to Casey. It was just such a big, big help. And one other thing that I would like to say is thank you to the people of Lockerbie Square. I was able to come down and attend one of the People's Club meetings back in December, I think, and talk to them about this. And everyone I spoke with, people that I spoke with that were out on the streets walking around when we would come down here and look at the area, they were all so supportive and so happy to have the Little Sisters recognized here. It is mentioned on the Lockerbie Street walking tour, Lockerbie Square walking tour, about the wall, and that this once enclosed the home for the Little Sisters. So it was just an absolute thrill to be able to talk to the people down here and to know that they were such in favor of this. It's a wonderful, wonderful area and a wonderful group of people. So thanks to them as well.
Thank you so much, Thank you so much. This time I'd like to also share some special thanks to other people who made this dedication event possible. I'd like to begin with B. Eckert Deichmann, who is a generous historical marker benefactor, and thank you. And her gift was in loving memory of Jug and Sam Eckert. So thank you so much, and please remember Jug and Sam in your prayers. Thanks again to Linda Bear, to Beth Hansen, for their wonderful work on today's event. I'd also like to thank Bobby Hostetler, who, from our maintenance department, installed the historical marker. It looks great and wonderful, so thank you so much for your work with that. Thank you again to Senator Jean Breaux for her attendance, and for Ryan Wiegand for his attendance, and as well as Father Rick Ginther. So we are so appreciative for that, and Father Rick, we'd like to invite you up for a blessing. Okay, I was going to do it. Sorry, we'll begin with Father Rick's blessing and dedication, and then I have a final letter.
Just like a yo-yo. It's dangerous to put a priest in front of a microphone. I will just say my connection to the Little Sisters began when I was director of liturgy for the Archdiocese, and a couple of our priests who had lived there died, and I was privileged to come and help the sisters, the Archdiocese, and these priest families celebrate their passing over to the Lord. And then, by the grace of God, my mother was able to live there for 12 years. My mother was a wonderful lady, mother of 7, a widow, and she was terribly afraid of dying. She just didn't like death. But in 12 years, the sisters brought my mother to embrace a life of prayer. She was a prayer anyway, but she began to pray for all those who were dying, and she would go to their rooms. Wouldn't stay long, because Mother never stayed long in any one place except her recliner. And she learned to embrace the beauty of faith and where it would lead in terms of eternal life. I came to know the Little Sisters' home at St. Augustine's as the front porch of heaven. That's where people prepare to be with their Lord. And I want to thank the sisters for that. Now, shall we pray? Gracious God, we come before you this day to give thanks. We remember our ancestors in faith, Simeon and Anna, who shared their wisdom and insight with Mary and Joseph. Ruth, who remained the companion of Naomi in her widowhood. psalmists, prophets, and gospel writers who proclaimed your special love for widows, orphans, the poorest of the poor, and the elderly. With these, our ancestors, we stand here today recalling the little sisters of the poor who came so many years ago to serve the elderly poor of Indianapolis and surrounding communities. They journeyed beyond the safety of France to care for those who were strangers. They yet today remain ever faithful to their mission among us. We ask that this historical marker continue to proclaim for generations the need that all have for mercy, for compassion, and for companions on life's journey, especially in the later years of life. May the example of such service to the elderly poor inspire our country to honor life as sacred from conception to natural death. And may this marker find your blessing, Lord, and may its sight be a blessing for all who pass by. Through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you so much, Father. And we also have some greetings from Cardinal William Joseph Tobin, who was the former Archbishop of Indianapolis and now the Archbishop of Newark, New Jersey. And he writes, "Dear Mother Mary and sisters, it is with the greatest of pleasure that I join, even if it is from far away, in congratulating all of you on this special day in the life of the Little Sisters of the Poor and in the life of this local church of Indianapolis. Applaud each of you for your constant and fervent presence as a face of Christ the Redeemer to those most in need of physical and spiritual healing and comfort. As we all have come to know is in ever more focused ways in recent years, challenges to the sanctity of human life, especially among the poor and marginalized, are growing in a society that has become more and more secular and dehumanized. It is critical for Catholics to bear witness in the public arena to our faith, a witness that you and all of the Little Sisters of the Poor exemplified since 1873 in Indianapolis, more than 140 years before our Holy Father Pope Francis said, "It is not so much about speaking, but rather with our whole lives, living consistently the very existence of our lives. Congratulations. By your example, may we always be inspired. Sincerely yours, in Christ the Redeemer, Cardinal Joseph W. Tobin." Once again, thank you to our whole St. Augustine Little Sisters of the Poor community, so our sisters, our wonderful staff, our residents, many of whom are here today, our St. Augustine Guild, all of you that are here. Thank you again to Casey from the Indiana Historical Bureau, and we have a final proclamation because today is a very special day. The City of Indianapolis and the Office of the Mayor, to all of those present may come greetings. Whereas the Little Sisters of the Poor arrived in Indianapolis in 1873, opening a house on Kentucky Avenue for the elderly in need. A few months later, acquiring a piece of land, they established St. Augustine Home for the Aged at 520 East Vermont Street. And whereas, operating solely on faith and the generosity of the community, the Little Sisters were a fixture in downtown Indianapolis during their 94 years on Vermont Street. On November 17, 1967, with the help of the St. Joseph Auxiliary St. Augustine Guild and 18,000 individuals and businesses in the Indianapolis community, the residents were moved into their new home. 2017 marks the 50th anniversary of the St. Augustine Guild and the closing of the Vermont Street Home. And whereas the only requirements for residency at the St. Augustine Home were to be without funds or property, to have reached 60 years of age. All religions, races, and ethnic backgrounds were accepted at a time when minorities were often excluded from other facilities. Their work has and continues to enable elderly men and women to live out their years in dignity and comfort before reaching a peaceful death. And whereas, to mark the 50th anniversary of the St. Augustine Guild, along with the Indiana Historic Bureau, will erect a historic marker at the location of the Little Sisters' former home on 520 East Vermont Street. We celebrate this occasion and commend the Little Sisters' legacy of serving the elderly poor in Indianapolis and surrounding areas. Now, therefore, Joseph H. Hogsett, Mayor of the City of Indianapolis, has proclaimed May 20th, 2017 as Little Sisters of the Poor Day. And we ask you all to join him in this observation. Again, thank you for joining us on this rain-free morning. We're truly appreciative. And we have representatives from Costco who've generously donated bottles of water and cookies, so feel free to partake in some refreshments. And thank you so much for being here this morning.